I've uploaded my LPDP data, my application process, my essays, my information about which form of scholarship that I applied to. And I want you to act as a panelist for this interview mock-up session. I want you to be as detailed and thorough as possible. You're going to ask me one question at a time, then I'll answer it. And let's do a total of 5 questions back and forth. And then let's see how you feel about it. Can we do that?
Absolutely, we can do that. I've reviewed your LPDP application thoroughly, so I'll tailor the questions to reflect what real panelists might ask, digging into your motivation, alignment with the scholarship's goals, and your future contributions. All right, let's kick it off with the first question. Muhammad Ahwy Karuniyado, you've had quite a diverse career, from product management to educational content creation. Why did you choose to pursue a master's in strategic analysis and innovation at NUS specifically? And how does it align with your long-term goals for Indonesia?
Thank you for the question. First of all, it is true that I have a diverse career. I've worked as a consultant, researcher, product, project, and now I'm doing content creation for education-related content. All of those stem from the desire to be able to not
Thanks for
only
starting your answer. Good intro. Now imagine you're in the interview room. The panelists will probably nod, but they're waiting for you to really connect the dots. Want to continue your answer? I'd love to hear how NUS fits into that journey, what it means for your goals back in Indonesia. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? I'm looking forward to working together.
You've read my application to LPDP, and I want to have an interview mock-up session. You're going to be a panelist, and I'm going to be the one who's getting the interview. You're going to ask 5 questions to me. When you ask a question, I will answer it, and then you do a follow-up question. We do a total 5, and then let's see how we feel about that. Can we do that?
Absolutely, that sounds great. Let's jump into mock interview mode. I'll be one of the LPDP panelists, and I'll start with the first question. Question one. Can you tell us about a moment in your life when you faced a major setback and how that experience shaped your personal or professional growth?
The biggest challenge that I received in professional experience is when I tried to do a digital transformation. It was a task and a project from the company that I work with, and they want to do a digital transformation towards its client. The very reason why it becomes challenging is because there are management processes and people who are against the digital transformation due to the fact that it will literally reduce the amount of headcount from the client side. So that means when this digital transformation succeeds, there will be people who are not employable anymore. It was challenging because they tried to keep the administrative processes as long as possible. The way that I solve the problem is I do a discussion towards the high stakeholders. That means the one who really have the decision-making process, where we should go for. Then I get their buy-in to do the project until it finish. It made me who I am today. It made me realize that there will be people who are against you, despite the good intent, despite the good justifications about it. And that means I have to be as good as possible in convincing stakeholders to get a buy-in. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your rationale about something that you want to do, you need to have a buy-in from the one who really do have the decision-making power.
That's a solid example and a tough situation to be in. Sounds like you learned a lot from that. Follow up question. If you were to face a similar situation again, but this time the high level stakeholders were also hesitant, how would you approach getting their support?
I would more incline to provide valuable reasons why the project must be done and why it must be finished as much as possible and as frequently as possible to the highest level of stakeholders, simply because when I talk to them and when we see who the highest level stakeholders are, they really inclined to make the organizations as efficient as possible and at the same time be more good as possible for the people who are deserving. It might take some time if they are against me in the beginning, but I will take as much time as possible, as frequently as possible to talk with them and convince them. So consistency will be the key in this, and my ability to justify the rationale of digital transformation will be also the key in this. And that means frequency and consistency will be the go-to strategy for me to do that.
Nice. So your approach is all about persistence, clarity, and showing long-term value. That mindset can really make a difference. Question two, why did you choose the Master of Management program specifically? And how do you see it helping Indonesia in the future?
Got it. To clarify, I'm applying for NUS Master in Strategic and Analysis. So it's not management in general. And for the elites, I'm taking MBA. Why I do those, I'm interested for those positions and for those master's degree is at the end of the day, an organization's successes comes back to the level of decision and the ability to create a consistent, high quality decision. In terms of big organizations like companies, their management must be the one who make the decision, and the people who do the operations must also have a good decision. That's why they invested in lots of training and education. And the end of the day, it's really about the quality of decision-making process. And I want to learn that. I want to have the ability to make a good decision as consistently as possible. And that is why I chose those master's degree. They specifically taught their students about decision-making process, the variables, the scenarios, the risk. Those are the things that I need to be able to have. And for Indonesia in general, currently I already built a business that have 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And that means I already have a certain level of impact to Indonesia. And therefore, if I study and have better decision-making process, I will become even more valuable to the Indonesian community due to the distribution that I have, the channel that I got, and the network that I'm going to grow when I study and capitalize on the things that I already have right now.
Thanks for the clarification. That makes sense. And your answer really shows how intentional your choice is. You've connected it well to both personal growth and national impact. Follow-up question. You mentioned already having a big impact through your YouTube channels. What specific kind of decisions or strategies do you hope to improve after finishing the program, especially in terms of helping more Indonesians?
Right. So I built those YouTube channels and the social medias accounts because I want to educate people, right? Uh, but those are in terms of education. I understand that at the end of the day, and the sole problem that I try to solve is a rate of entrepreneurship in Indonesia. Therefore, when I study business in NUS and or leads, that's according to the which acceptance that I'm going to get from LPDP if I do get it accepted, is when I go back from those studies, I want to make an entrepreneurial hub where people can learn about business, when people can learn about finance, when people can learn about marketing and everything that really entails in doing a business. Because doing a business is not really just as simple as having good sales. Even if you have good sales, it doesn't mean that your company is going to be profitable. You need to have the level of consistency, you need to have a level of documentation and bookkeeping processes, and all of those are not readily available to the market. Not there's no learning path for people to learn that, which led to people believe that business is harder than it should be. It shouldn't be that way. And we've seen that the rate of entrepreneurship in Indonesia is as low as I've written, it doesn't even reach 5% of Indonesian population, and I need to improve that. Therefore, when I did my studies, I will use the learning that I got and use the distribution network that I already have to create an entrepreneurial hub.
That's a powerful vision. You're not just looking to educate, you're trying to build real infrastructure for long-term change. Very compelling. Question three. LPDP scholars are expected to contribute to Indonesia within 10 years after graduation. What concrete steps will you take in your first 1 to 3 years after returning home?
Right. So I have three phases that I want to contribute to Indonesia. The first phase is repackaging my learning from the studies. So everything that I've learned in the study, every network that I got, everything that I absorbed, the best practices, the standard of operations, and so on that I acquired from those studies will be repackaged and make it accessible to the people in Indonesia, especially to my first degree network. And then start from then, we're going to repackage other learning possibilities. And at the end of the second phase, it's going to be a repository of data and information about people doing business, the things that they've learned, the things that they can do, and everything in between. And I will make it accessible as possible to the people. That means I'm going to charge. I do have to charge a price, but I will make it as affordable as possible, as opposed to the some boot camps, some learning materials that already existed that cost astronomical amount. I'm going to make it accessible and make a network, lots of seminars and events. Then the third phase would be when people want to do business, they already have a strong network. Like, for example, someone who wants to make a business and he wants to make a PT perseroan terbatas, someone in the networking session or someone in the entrepreneurial hub already have the ability to make PT, and they can just connect with one another and receive a good price for that service. And that means I'm going to be able to grow the network, provide for the community. And by the end of the year 10, I hope that the entrepreneurial hub.
Bridge not just knowledge gaps, but also service gaps. That's a really well thought out roadmap. You've covered education, affordability, and community building all in one. Follow up question. In the first phase, how will you ensure that the content you repackage is truly relevant and digestible for the average aspiring entrepreneur in Indonesia, especially outside big cities?
I will use video content and short articles for them. That means I'm going to record myself. I'm going to write short articles for them and make it as accessible as possible. And the way I distribute it is by using my YouTube channels and my own personal branding. As I've talked before, my YouTube channels already have 1.5 million subscribers, and my own personal branding already have 50,000 followers on social medias. That means I can distribute the prepackaged learning to them, and then the way I'm going to process it, it will have a certain level of processes. First step, I'm going to acquire the knowledge, and then second, rewrite the knowledge as simple as possible and as straightforward as possible. And with AI, I'm going to make an illustration about it. Then I can make the ideas spread by using the network and distribution that I already have.
Crystal clear and super practical. You're using the channels you've built, simplifying complex ideas, and even leveraging AI for clarity and visuals. That's a strong execution plan. Question 4. How do you plan to manage your time and responsibilities while studying abroad, especially given your existing commitments with your business and community projects in Indonesia?
I would, first of all, the businesses and the community projects that I've built, we have an organization about it. We have a structure. So that means even if I'm not around, they will function as is. The system is already created. For example, right now I'm not living in Jakarta right now. That means, and the business and the community still functions. That means even without my direct presence, the things are the operating as its own. Well, for me personally, when I do my studies, obviously I will focus and prioritize my study because if I get accepted to LPDP, I am receiving a trust that I need to fulfill, the level of expectation I need to fulfill, and I need to also network with the people in the country that I'm going to study in, to get as many network as possible, to acquire as many knowledge as possible. Those two will be my priority. And for the community projects and the businesses, the companies that I built, it will be maintenance. There will be people who make the decision and already succeeded right now. The systems are already there, so I can do my studies and my networking in that country as good as possible.
Makes sense. It's good to hear you've already built systems that don't rely on your constant presence. That's a sign of strong leadership and foresight. Follow up question. If something urgent happens with one of your businesses while you're abroad, say a crisis that needs your decision, how would you handle it without compromising your studies?
If there are crises in the business, I would handle it by using online meetings that can be done within 3 hours. And that means the process would be in 3 steps. First of all, I would ask the people in Indonesia or the people who are operating the business directly to sum up the problems that we are facing and also to make solutions about it. And secondly, when we do the meeting, everyone who's going to join the meeting will be briefed and have a certain level of knowledge and awareness regarding the problems and possible solutions that we're going to take. And then finally, we would just vote which solution makes more sense and which solution makes the less level of consequences that we're going to take. We do understand that in business, solutions are, by definition, a trade off. You need to make a decision, and there will be consequences at the end of the day. And we're going to take the most rational decision and the most tolerable consequences that we can handle at the end. Therefore, those three things will be done in just 3 hours, maybe four. But those are the thought process that I'm going to have. Those are the thought process that I already communicate with the people and team in general.
That's a solid crisis protocol, structured, efficient, and grounded in teamwork and rational thinking. It really shows maturity in managing both responsibilities and people. Question 5. LPDP emphasizes leadership and nationalism. Can you give a concrete example where you demonstrated leadership that positively impacted your community or organization in Indonesia?
Go ahead. Thank you for the question. So, uh, in 2024, late 2024, I created a networking community called WF1. It's a remote working community where people can work together or find opportunities alongside. Therefore, my nationality and my nationalism for Indonesia is proven by the actions that I've done. I've created a YouTube channel for education and I already have 1.5 million subscribers and watch more than 80 million. That means I already, to a certain extent, help 80 million viewers learn something new. I've created community where people can find jobs and other opportunities within the community and connect remote workers, like-minded individuals. So both things are already proven. I already have 400 members for the community and 1.5 million subscribers on my on the social media side. Those things are proven, and I really want to contribute to Indonesia, and I want to make it as wide as possible. One of the reasons why I need to take this study is to build a network in other countries. If I do get accepted by LPDP, I can study in Singapore, or maybe I can study in UK, either in US or Leeds. Both countries, I will network with lots of people in the respective countries and try to connect those connections to the people that I've already worked with in Jakarta, in Yogyakarta, in Bali, and so on and so forth. And therefore, the level of opportunity that I can bring to the Indonesian people, to the Indonesian community, will be international, will be more expanded, bigger and wider, not just limited to what's happening in this country, but also what's happening in other countries. And that is my nationalism. That is my pride as Indonesian. I want to bring as many as possible, the opportunities as many as possible to my community, to the Indonesian community.
That was powerful. Your impact is real, your track record is solid, and your vision for connecting Indonesia with the global stage really shines through. Follow-up question. In building communities like WFJ1, how do you handle differences in background, opinions, or even conflicts between members to keep the community strong and productive?
Conflict does happen. In fact, it's quite frequently because lots of people have different kinds of opinions. Lots of people have different kinds of thoughts. The only way for conflict to not happen in a destructive manner is by having a certain level of respect. That means in times of great dissent that's happening
Totally agree.
in the
Respect is the foundation. When you say a certain level of respect, how do you actually build that in a diverse online community like WFJ1? Do you set specific rules, do regular check-ins, or maybe lead by example?
I do regular check-ins. Whenever there is a bad discussion or a negative discussions, I will immediately hop in and be a devil's advocate. But also, when there's positive discussions, I will also do my role as a devil's advocate, simply because I'm someone who believes that rationality is the first thing that we have to maintain. And it's impossible for us to have a level of rationality if there is no one that doubt a certain level of arguments. Therefore, I'll play the devil's advocate. It doesn't matter even if, to a certain extent, they get annoyed by my attitude, but those are the sacrifices that need to be done. Because to maintain a level of rationality that make a community coherence and collaboration to still happen, we need to have that level of rationality. Those are the things that I did.
That's a bold but effective approach. Being the one who challenges ideas equally, no matter where they come from. It shows you're prioritizing long term harmony over short term comfort. which is real leadership. All right, that wraps up all 5 questions. You handled them with strong reasoning, clear structure, and a real sense of purpose. How did that feel for you? Want to reflect on any part of it?
All right. I feel quite awkward. Some of the answers are not as precise as I want it to be, but those are subjective feelings, right? That I have. Can we move on into the objective parts? Can you provide me an evaluation about the things that I already did? What can be better? Can you give me an overall score of my answer?
Totally get that feeling. Mock interviews can feel awkward, especially when you're trying to think fast and deliver everything clearly. But the good news is, you came in with strong ideas, a real sense of impact, and a clear vision. Let's break it down a bit. Clarity and structure, 7.5 out of 10. You have deep and meaningful ideas, but sometimes they come across in long sentences or slightly repetitive phrasing. That can make it harder for the panel to follow your point. Shortening some explanations and getting to the so what a little quicker really helped. Substance and depth, 9 out of 10. Your experiences are impressive, building businesses, leading communities, impacting millions through content. You didn't just say, I want to contribute. You showed how you've already been doing that. Strategic thinking was there, especially in your plans for post-study impact. Authenticity and passion, 9.5 out of 10. This really shone through. Your pride in being Indonesian, your belief in education and entrepreneurship, and your practical understanding of business challenges felt genuine and strong. Even when your wording wasn't perfect, your intention was clear and persuasive. Room for improvement. You can polish your delivery by practicing more concise answers. Start with your key point, then add 1 or 2 supporting ideas. Also, consider using examples with clear numbers or outcomes up front. It helps strengthen your credibility even more. Overall score, 8.5 out of 10. You're already in a strong position. With a bit more sharpening in delivery, you'd sound even more focused and confident. Would you like to practice just one part again, like maybe a tighter version of one of the answers?
No, no need. I just want to say thank you for the session. I'll reread the feedback that you have, and I'll think about the ways I can do to make it as short as possible and get to the so what part. Again, thank you for the discussion. By the way, this conversation is recorded, and I'm going to upload it and make it accessible for people, so they can also know that you can learn and try to interview yourself using ChatGPT. Again, overall, thank you for the session. It was good. Let's meet up again.
You're very welcome, and that sounds like a great idea. I'm glad the session was helpful, and I love that you're sharing it so others can learn from your experience too. Best of luck with the real interview. You've got the vision, you've got the impact, and with a bit of polish, you'll deliver it even more powerfully. Catch you next time.